Safety Zoners, and we are back for another STEM Ditty. Now, as I've said, in the month of June we are going to be looking at the T in STEM, which stands for technology, and today we're going to be looking at the technology you most will use, and that is your phone. Now, the reason we wanted to do this video is obviously during the lockdown and even before, there's a very good chance you've been spending quite a considerable amount of time on your smartphone. Now, that's not particularly, in all cases, particularly healthy, but also during lockdown, it's only natural that if you can't communicate face to face, you're going to be spending more time online. Now, the reason I want to do this video is really sort of to help young people and parents. We would obviously be doing this in the safety zone, but we can't, so we're having to do it through this format. Now, what people don't often appreciate is this device that we have holds a massive responsibility. Obviously, I'm going to quote Spider-Man, great power comes great responsibility, but it's completely true. How you use this device can not only shape the world around you, but shape your world as well. A good example is if you do a review of a business. It's often said that if you give a review, a negative one, 7 people see it, and if you give a good review, less people see it. Now, the same goes for here. If you log on to your social media and you see anything at all, someone's got a haircut, someone's got a new car, you don't know their trousers, their new single, that kind of stuff, and about someone's background, you make a particularly negative comment, you really got to think, what impact will that negative comment have? It could ruin someone else's day. It could change that mood of that person. It could make them shift towards a more negative outlook in life. It may not help you with your outlook. So the responsibility you have is to make sure you deal with social media correctly. Now, on this other side of this, positivity also breeds, and you could pick someone up, you could cheer someone up, you could maybe see someone online who's having a not particularly good day, and your reply, what do you want to do? Sort of punch them, win them down, figure of speech, or do you want to help sort of lift them up? What kind of person do you want to be? I know which one I would rather be. So just be mindful of how you use these things. Just hold a great responsibility. Now, obviously, the more you're online, the more time you're spending, the more potential you've got to being open to outside forces which you may not be ready for. The world that people put forward is often false. Like if you see a glossy magazine, you'll see a model. All the minor imperfections, the things that make us, they've all been removed by a computer. And people, these influencers that you see, they choose an image, and everything they put out there, their image is to keep on that. They're not going to show you they've taken out the bins, the mundane bits, sitting in the pyjamas watching Netflix and spilling food down the jumper and that kind of stuff, and maybe they haven't heard about it. They're going to show you a world that they want you to see. But the problem with that is, if you don't measure up to that, that can make you feel bad. And really, it's a form of advertising which goes completely unregulated. You may see things which are not right for you. What I mean by that, you put a movie on, says this movie's for an 18-year-old. There's a reason why that is for. Unfortunately, you may see things in there that you're not quite ready for. You may think you are, but continuously being exposed to content above the age which is deemed right can have an effect on you as well. Also, you may be exposed to risks. People you speak to online may not say who they be, and their intentions may not be honourable. Now, obviously, I've spoke for 5 minutes now talking about blah blah blah, the internet's bad, blah blah blah, you spend too long online. But we've got something positive to show today. Now, I don't know if this is going to particularly work, but I've come across a nice app by the good people at the BBC, and it's called the BBC Own It app. Now, I've been doing some research on this. I'm kind of seeing it as a bit of a training wheels to go online. Now, this is more so with the parents. At some point in your young child's life, they are going to have a smartphone. There could be 5, could be 6, could be 10, could be 15, who knows, it's going to happen. So maybe if you're having that conversation, or maybe you're aware of the people in your life who are young, having too much time online, maybe it's a worthwhile cause sort of looking into this app. Now, the reason why I'm going to promote this app to you, we're in no way affiliated with the BBC, but looking at it, there's a couple of aspects of this that I think may be really, really useful. I've made some notes here. The app itself, it goes into someone's phone, obviously, but it has some artificial intelligence in there which constantly measures the young person's mood. Now, this is kept completely confidential, but the reason why it does it is if the output from that phone is constantly negative or constantly dangerous or constantly in a direction that you may not be aware of, the intelligence on the phone or through the app will then make suggestions, maybe putting them in the right direction where they can seek an advice, or even really subtle things. What I mean by that is a keyboard pops up. Let's say, Dave, I don't like your jeans. It'll pop up and it'll say, do you know what? That's not the nicest thing to say. Why don't you say something else like, Dave, those jeans are interesting. Smiley face. So you can change the tone of a conversation, all suggesting, but it'll start sort of counteracting the negative way which is sort of seen online. It'll also look to see what kind of words are being used regularly. If there's lots of, the 4-letter ones, that maybe it will sort of speak to the young person and give them a few pointers of, what impact they can have. But also, if they're sharing pictures, it will be able to scan the pictures using all computers and all that gizmos, and be able to say, whoa. Is that actually something you want the world to see? You may be sending it to your pal, but it might get shared. So I kind of looked at it, and I was doing my research on that. I kind of see it as a kind of training wheels for getting online. Obviously, the whole social media thing is swept by. Lots of people of my generation, I didn't get a phone till I was 17, kind of weren't born online in the way that the younger people and their generation are. And if you're at that sort of crossroads as a parent or a guardian where you're considering getting your young person a smartphone, it may be something, if you're not already speaking to them about, just putting on there to give them a guidance on how to behave online. If they're veterans of the social media, you 15, 16-year-olds who have been on there for quite a long time, it may be worth sort of speaking to them to get them to download it, so maybe they can slightly improve how they're acting online. So that's just a bit of a conversation today, mostly for the parents, but we would be using this if we did have a group session to maybe looking at how young people would use social media output, what kind of things they're saying, and the impact that may say, and going back to that point regarding the responsibility of being an online citizen is that your words have real impact, and the end user, that person could be in Timbuktu, but telling them that their fringe is wonky and you don't look good, that could be one of 1,000 negative messages that person gets a day, and it's been seen, it really has. They can chip away at people and bring them down to a point at which, bad things can then happen to themselves. But think about it, if you could correct your practices and maybe, make different suggestions, or, if you can't think of anything positive to say, maybe don't say anything at all. But that's just a short video I wanted to do. Yes, we are looking at technology, but let's think about if this is a force for good or a force for bad, and how you want to be the user for the modern world. So, peace, stay safe, and follow the advice at this time. Bye-bye.